Okay, I'm back, and now we want to talk about the convergence, where the plates come together. Now, if you recall, there are three different ways that the plates can converge. So you could have a continental-continental collision in which you form the mountains. You could have the ocean-ocean collision, where whichever ocean plate is the colder one, that's the one that's going to go underneath the other one. And then as it heats up, the lighter materials go back up to the surface. Or you could have a continental colliding with an ocean plate, and the ocean plate goes underneath the continental plate. And again, it melts and materials come up to the surface. So let's look at these. So first you've got your ocean-ocean collision. And this time you're going to have mafic magma that's going to be coming up, but the other ocean plate is also composed of mafic materials. Remember, an ocean plate is made where you have divergence, and that makes a mafic crust when that happens. So now what we're going to have is mafic, the lighter materials from a mafic rock are going to come up to the surface through mafic materials. What do you end up with? Well, you're going to end up with a slightly more felsic rock. So ultimately it's still mafic, but now it's going to have a little bit more felsic character to it because it got the lighter materials from this mafic plate that went underneath it, and it partially melted. Now, if this happens often enough, what can happen is that the island chain that is a result of the subduction zone becomes more and more and more felsic until finally you have a microcontinent that is felsic in composition. And then as those microcontinents bump into each other, you get larger and larger continents that are composed of felsic rocks. You can also have this time at an ocean continental collision. All right, now this time you've got mafic materials, but it's coming up through pre-existing felsic materials. So the continent is felsic, this is mafic, so now you're having a mixing of felsic and mafic materials, and that makes intermediate materials. So a rock that is intermediate in composition between mafic and felsic, and that's diorite and andesite. So that's what the rocks in the Andes Mountains, where you've got part of an ocean plate is going underneath South America. It's forcing up those Andes Mountains that are made of andesite and diorite. You can also have cases where the magma manages to make its way all the way to the surface without being converted into other materials, and then it would erupt directly as basalt onto the surface. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about hot spots.